Hey everybody, Adam Savage here at Propstore in Los Angeles with Brandon. How are you,
Hey
sir?
Adam, good to see you again.
Good to see you again. You guys have an auction coming up and we get to look at two costumes from the same franchise but split apart. I think this is Judge Dredd 95 and 2012.
And I love seeing them side by side. I think the differences will never quite be as stark as when they're sitting next to each other.
It is really, really true. Two different executions from a super famous comic book character. I know that the first costumes were designed by Versace, and they are over the top in a spectacular kind of way.
Which is unusual to have a real fashion designer who's doing film costume. I mean, normally it's a very specific trade. It's industry costume designers who are doing everything. But yeah, Versace for this, I guess it speaks to the over-the-top nature of everything about that movie.
I totally agree. And in the same auction, you guys have a ZF-1, and Fifth Element, famously costume design was by Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Right, okay. Another good example.
Fashion icon. And then this is worn by the protagonist, Officer Anderson from Dredd 2012. I have actually replicated this suit. I know this one very, very well, and I love this costume.
This is a great, I mean, I love the darker tones and just the more slightly more, what we call it, military inspired or maybe police gear inspired look of it, as opposed to, I don't know. Just this is so much more tactical, right?
Yeah.
And this looks like real ballistic gear, and it looks like it's armor that's going to keep you safe. This, I don't know. We're
definitely comic
We're very
booky.
Exposed here. Yeah.
But and you know, movie history is rife with movies not knowing necessarily how to translate the sort of over-the-top narrative of comic books to the medium of film. And the original Sylvester Stallone Dredd draws a really interesting line, because that movie is quite dark. And it's also, there's a lot of slapstick going on in it. The Dredd reboot stays away from any of that slapstick.
Right, much more serious.
Just dark and gory.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, looking at the two side by side, it sort of tells a little story as to how much range a film has in picking a visual design language, right? And you see that too in things like bat suits. Like, how many versions of a bat suit have we seen? They still have to live within the same parameters. You know, a bat suit has to be a bat suit, but there is a wide range that you can cover. Like, to look at a Robert Pattinson bat suit versus, let's say, a George Clooney bat suit, or even Adam West. Like, you can go a lot of different directions with something, which is part of the fun of it.
And it's lovely to see the two helmets side by side, both built off of the same IP, radically different, and then you can feel the similarity, the design similarities.
And are these fiberglass? You can lift that one up. Do you want to, should we check it out?
I think this is fiberglass or cast resin.
Okay.
Oh, it's hard to tell
it's fully
because
lined,
it's so
huh?
beautifully lined.
Yeah. That's
I'm
nice,
going to guess that that's fiberglass.
Yeah, and I think this one, let me just pop this off. I think this one is fiberglass.
Gorgeous paint finish on
Yeah, that's fiberglass. Foam line, the NBA costume there, which was Monty Berman Associates, I think.
Okay.
Which was a well-known UK costume creator. I think somebody who spun off of Angels or one of the big houses over there. But this one is Judge Rico stunt double, Judge Dredd.
I love also the belt buckles. We see two different executions of the same idea of the belt buckle. This one feeling much more sort of in a real world, and this being very more illustrative.
Yeah, again, just the bright tones of this keep coming through, as opposed to the sort of darker, grittier tones of the 2012.
Now, I know sometimes with costumes that you guys bring pieces together. How did these two costumes arrive with you guys? Are these complete setups?
No, that's a good question. This film, the 2012 Dredd, we actually did a studio auction for. So that was one of our first studio auctions. I think we ran it in 2013, and I have a feeling that it was even run on eBay, because that's how early in the story of Propstore we were. We were doing our auctions on eBay at that time. It's when we were predominantly doing just what we call buy now sales. So most of our sales at that time were direct through the website. This auction was a little bit of a rarity, but we were so excited to get this content at the time, because when this movie came out, it was really well received, especially by the fan base and the collector base. And we just thought it was fantastic looking gear, great costumes. The lawgivers are great, the guns, and just a lot of great material. So this one we sold a number of years ago. Now it's come back around. I think it's been intact ever since that time. You can tell they didn't have quite enough boots. That's why this one doesn't have the boots, unfortunately. Right. But still a largely complete, beautiful looking setup. And this costume also came to us as you see it. So we didn't have to do any assembly on this.
Nice.
I'm not sure exactly where this one came from, but you know, this title has really been trading amongst collectors since shortly after the film came out. I mean, there's a lot of Judge Dredd material on the market. Judge Dredd, 1995 Dredd.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how gritty and how real world they both end up executing. It's just delightful. Okay, and then shall we move? Shall we
can
pivot
jump.
to the other
Yeah,
costume?
we can pivot.
All right. I've been wanting to see one of these close up for a long time.
Yeah, this is. Are you a fan of the film?
I am a huge fan of this film. The Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, All
Whatever
You Need
it's
Is Kill.
called.
Whatever it's called,
It's
I
a good
love this
movie.
movie.
Yes, no, I agree. Really great film, and this is a really cool costume. Just really interesting to look at because you've got so many layers and so much going on with the soft goods and the hardware.
And I look at this, and so this is Emily Blunt's exo-suit
Yes,
from the film.
Rita.
Rita
I'm glad you're pronouncing
Vrataski.
it. Yeah.
Vrataski. I'm looking at her dog tags. And I look at this and I think that is a lot for an actor to have on their bodies. And
Yeah.
then I touch it and it's all absolutely lightweight foam.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, it totally does. Even down to like super spongy rubber at parts that would hit people.
And I would imagine, I don't know a ton about these, but I would imagine that there were different grades of these and therefore different weights as well. They're probably
Right.
hero versions, action versions, because there's a lot of running in that film, a lot of stunt work,
Yeah.
a lot of battle scenes. So you can think they would have had ones, maybe some real metal parts in there somewhere, but a lot like this also that were the stunt versions.
So is
Much
this
more
a stunt?
comfortable.
This is a stunt version?
I believe this is
Okay.
a stunt version of it, yeah.
And did this come to you guys complete as well?
This one we actually sold a number of years ago. I believe when we first sold it, it was consigned directly by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It was part of a Warner Brothers collection that we sold, and now it's come back around to us from a collector that's had it for a number of years.
Looking at these foam parts close up, you can actually see when you're sitting here that they're twisty, right? That they're not holding necessarily
look at
their
that.
perfect lines. None of that matters when the paint job is as good as this paint job is. All of this sells as like hard machinery bolted to a human body. It does not feel like it's going to be soft.
Definitely, yeah. And what do you make of the red stripes? Was that a story point, or is
I
that?
feel like the red stripes is a story point because there's a red stripe painted at the bottom of the blade.
Yeah, right. Her
Right, and
helicopter blade
there's,
sword.
I mean, maybe it's like one of her people gives her a spray paint. She's holding the blade.
okay, yeah.
I feel like it could even be that weird.
Something in the industrial nature of it. But you know, we've seen a few of those blades around.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is the only suit I've seen. So,
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Now-
Maybe I've seen parts or pieces, but a full suit like this, I think this is the one.
Now, as we always do when we come down, we've shot a few videos for this auction, and there's a couple of pieces you've said have come back around. Do you end up feeling a sense of nostalgia for some of the old parts that come back through?
Yeah, no, definitely, I do, and you know, I think it speaks to the nature of collecting, which is collectors don't like to sit still, right? They like to be active, and so you're going to have something, you're going to enjoy it for a time, and then maybe you're going to move it on to a new home, and ultimately, nobody's going to have anything forever, right? So we're all just caretakers of these things for a moment in time, and I do see it, you know, with all collectors who have been collecting for years and people who are brand new, you see just the interest to kind of let things go from time to time in order to bring new things into the collection.
And now I know also in the comments, whenever we put these videos up, people very helpfully who worked on production will actually lend stories to the pieces we're talking about. How often do these pieces come back to you with new stories you didn't know about, like research that the owner had done?
It's a good question. I mean, it happens. It happens. You know, nobody's going to care for a piece like the owner, and so. We do a lot of research up front, but in some cases, someone's going to get it and they're going to take the research even farther than we did. In some cases, they're going to find resources that maybe we didn't have access to, you know, behind the scenes material or books or magazines. Somebody finds the right photo where you go, here, I can match in this image. But I will say that what we see with pieces that we sold, say, 10 years ago, like maybe the costume here, that they come back around, is our ability to go in and try to screen match things has come up quite a bit. So like,
simply because media's gotten better and sharper
exactly.
and 4K
just
transfers.
4K, you know, we are able to access 4K copies very quickly, and we have people that's all they do is sit there and go through them and look at things and capture the frames and compare. And so, for example, we looked at the Ghost Trap earlier today.
Yeah.
We sold that before. We didn't know then that it's screen matched. Now it came back again. We looked at it with fresh eyes. We looked at it with a 4K copy of the film, and we found a screen match on it. So in some ways, these things, they're still unlocking their own mysteries.
I can totally imagine that. I just was recently watching the most magnificent 4K transfer of Aliens available on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, I got to pull out some of my props because there's reference here that I've never been able to see before.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. I love it when there's a big film that I'm a big fan of that comes out on 4K for the first time, because it's a totally different experience.
It really is a significant.
If you're a video nerd, it's a different experience.
Yeah. No, it's totally amazing. Okay, so these 3 costumes are in the auction. It's upcoming.
Yes, March 26th to March 28th. These are day 1 costumes, which means it's live at the Peterson Automotive Museum. You can come out and bid in person, or of course, you can bid online or via telephone.
So it sounds kind of like Peterson's Auto Museum on the first day will be a very fun sort of nerd party.
It is, yeah. And there's actually a nerd party reception the evening before. So if you're in town, Adam, we'd love to have you. If not this one, we'll get you there sometime.
Absolutely, I will make it at some point. Oh my God, this is an amazing, amazing roster, Brandon. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys so much for watching that video. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you we have some excellent merch. We have a 5-pack of demerit badges for sale right now at tested/store.com. We've got the I hung it off of level demerit badge, the I built the chair backwards demerit badge, the I hit my thumb with a hammer demerit badge. We've got the stapler in my finger demerit badge, and my favorite, I stuck the duct tape to itself demerit badge. Get yours now, tested/store.store. Tested-store. Tested. It's right here. There. Just click there.